I'm supposed to be nervous now, okay? Okay. Well, here goes. Yes, the domino effect. So, I'm going to explain to you what is it, and particularly why should you come to our session. And let me start with giving you a real-world example from my own experience. I have a wife, okay? She's, let's say, natural hazard number 1. Well, an obvious hazard that is triggered by this hazard is natural hazard number 2, my son. And logically, a follow-up hazard would be natural hazard number 3, my daughter. And it's not so difficult to attach this to natural hazards, because imagine a storm could actually cause a very disruptive flood. This flood could actually lead to a landslide, and this landslide could block the river and cause an even bigger flood with the next event. This is what we'll be talking about, and it's about multiple events and processes over a certain given time span. In Bangkok, for instance, floods and high tides. In 2011, they were actually the cause of the greatest impacts, the fact that they jointly occurred. Here, over the United States, you can see that it's also about correlation. Heavy rainfall events coinciding with strong surge events, and everywhere where you see reds here, they are on the increase due to changes in storm patterns. It's also about impacts on society, very importantly. Here you see Lake Kariba drying out in green, and because of that there is a lack of hydropower production, and during heat waves, this actually paralyzes Zimbabwe. That's what the domino effect is about. We also see it in Venice, but then over much longer time scales. We have soil subsidence and sea level rise, which coincide with frequently occurring high tides flooding the city. That's what the dominoes are about. Are there multiple events and processes? Yes. Are the aggravated impacts there? Yes. Correlated events? Perhaps not so much. But this is clearly an area with domino effects taking place. Now, some recent attention is there in science. People are trying to collect empirical proof from studies that these events are coinciding and that they are actually aggravating their impact. You can see here a correlation matrix that shows that based on empirical evidence. Now, we have tremendous speakers, and that is why you should come to our session in the first place. Bart van den Hurk, Melanie Duncan, Antonia Sebastian, and Mirjana Budimir. And you can learn from them, learn why it is important, assessment methods, and impacts on society. Melanie Duncan, she will show that volcanic risk over the Philippines aggravates risks due to cyclones. And you may think, yeah, why is that? Why are these things aggravating each other? Well, you will see tomorrow, if you come to our session, why they are aggravating each other. And she will also show that when one event occurs, one hazard occurs, the vulnerability of society for the next natural hazard will also increase. Now, the next speaker, Bart van den Hurk, he will talk about the Netherlands. A storm that occurred a few years ago where there was a coinciding effect of high tides on the one end and high rainfall on the other end, and water just couldn't be drained away because of the high tides at the same time. And this figure actually shows, well, I'm actually not sure exactly how this figure works. So just come to our session and Bart will explain you all about this figure, okay? The third speaker, Antonia Sebastian, she will show the FEMA 100-year floodplain, very famous. Insurers, there are insurers here in the room, I'm sure they are here. Please come to the session because she will show that the 100-year floodplain is not so good actually. Because in Galveston, for instance, she's going to show that about 47% of all claims actually lie outside this 100-year floodplain. Why is that? Well, she will tell you more about it tomorrow. And there's more in our session. We're going to set an agenda. This is really a topic that is under-investigated, we think. It's under-investigated in science and in particular also in practice. So we're going to discuss about this agenda. So I please invite you to join this discussion so you can have impact on that agenda. We're also going to have some interaction. If you've been to the registration, you will have received one of those. If you didn't, please go there and you will receive one eventually. And then please go to this Google form and fill it out and use this form to do so. And with this questionnaire, we are actually able to see how well this community, you, are actually aware of these interactions between natural hazards and which interactions we should address more to bring to your attention in the future conferences and future work. So please join us for this very exciting session, Thursday, tomorrow, 4 o'clock in room Stanza Venezia. and this is the organizing committee. Please join us. Thank you very much.